Hi there, I'm Steve Ferrell, and I am a teacher at De La Soul Yoga in Hamilton, Ontario. And I wanted to come on today just to tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about maybe how I found my way into yoga and what you might expect from a class from me. So I found yoga about 14-ish years ago. I started off as a bodybuilder, which a lot of people can't tell now because I'm much smaller than I used to be. And when I was bodybuilding, the mentality of a bodybuilder is really constantly push through signals that you get from your body and be in pain really a lot of the time. The life of a bodybuilder is really spent with pain just sort of migrating from one body part to the next, right? Like Tuesday and Wednesday, your chest really hurts, and then your back really hurts, and then your arms really hurt, and then your legs really hurt. And so I spent a lot of time being in pain. And my girlfriend, who is now my wife, was really getting tired of hearing me complain about my pain. And so she took me to my first yoga class. And when the class was done, it wasn't as though the class was overly difficult. But what it did for me was set up the context for me to then really pay more attention to what I was doing with my body, as well as what I was doing with my breath, and as well as what my mind was doing in that whole scenario. And I considered myself to have pretty good body awareness, even as a bodybuilder, minus consistently pushing through pain, but that was always a conscious choice. And when I walked out of my first class, I leaned over to my wife and I said to her, I'm gonna do this forever. And the reason is that when I came out of that first class, I felt lighter. I was maybe a little bit taller, right? That's possible because I maybe had decompressed a little bit. But it was though the sun was shining brighter, and for some reason, Hamilton air smelled a little bit cleaner, and the birds were singing a little bit louder. And that's really what spurred me to lean over to my wife and say, I'm gonna do this forever, because I was having an experience that maybe I'd had in the past, but was never really conscious of being just present. Like really hearing what was happening, really feeling what was happening. And in that moment, it seemed like a lot of magic, but later on, what I really started to notice was it was just about me being more attentive and more aware of who I was in my surroundings. And this is really what I bring to yoga. When I'm teaching, whether I'm teaching a gentle hatha style yoga, whether I'm teaching an introduction or a level 1 flow, whether I'm teaching a class that I've sort of created myself, which I call movement in mind, which is more of a mindfulness-based movement practice, or whether I'm teaching meditation, no matter what it is that I teach, I really try to draw in aspects of mindfulness. For me, this is really the goal of asana practice, is to move and to breathe, yes, but to also do our best to connect to those movements and connect to those breaths. That as we use the body and the mind mind consistently give us feedback. And that asana practice or movement practice becomes this very beautiful opportunity, not just to move, but to listen. And then to be able to use the input that we get from our bodies and our minds and our breath to then make decisions about where to go next. So if you come to a class with me, depending on the class, it might be a little bit harder physically, it might be a little bit easier physically. It might be more about just paying attention to what's happening as opposed to any particular sequence for a body part. But every practice that I teach is going to keep this aspect of mindfulness embedded in it. So that hopefully when we get off of our mats or we get off of our meditation cushions and back out into our everyday lives, that we feel a little bit more connected, not only internally, but externally. That we can notice what our minds and our bodies are doing in any given moment, so that as we're living our regular lives off of the mat or off of the cushion, that maybe we get to meet the world, meet the people around us, meet our email, meet our Netflix with a little bit more purpose, a little bit more attention, and a little bit more choice as to what we do in every moment that we have. I really hope to see you in class. It's an honor to be with De La Soul. It's an honor to record this video for me, for you. And I hope you guys have a beautiful and abundant life full of mindfulness and love. Take care.